He unalived his wife, his two daughters, and his unborn son just because he wants to be with another woman whom he had been having an affair with. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Deadly Serenades. I am Oli, and this is episode 2. Today, we'll be looking at the Chris Watts family murder case, which is a very chilling, sad, horrific one. So, viewers and listeners' discretion is advised. Shannon and Chris met in 2010 and the two quickly fell in love. So, fast forward to 2012, they were already married and they decided to settle down in Frederick, Colorado. Shannon was a successful representative for a health and wellness company, while Chris, he worked in the oil industry. So they had the perfect family. I mean, on the outside, their family, their life, it seemed like the ideal model of family because everyone who knew Shannon said she was a vibrant person. She was dedicated to her family and she shared much of her life on social media. She didn't hesitate to show the world how much she loved her husband, Chris, and their two daughters, Bella and Celeste. But in the summer of 2018, a tragic and dark story would unfold. On the 13th of August 2018, Shannon, who was by this time was already 15 weeks pregnant with their son, who they had planned to name Nicole, returned home from a business trip in the very early hours of the morning because she had a doctor's appointment. But that was the last time she was seen alive by anybody. She was never seen alive again after that day. Concerned friend of Shannon's who knew she had an appointment that day, she had a doctor's appointment that day, had been trying to reach out to her because they were supposed to go together and she didn't get any response. She was not picking up at calls, she was not replying at tests. So she grew worried. She decided to call the police to conduct a welfare check at the Watts home. The police arrived at Watts home, but neither Shannon and her daughter were anywhere to be found. And very quickly, this escalated because hours went by and days, and Shannon and her daughter were still nowhere to be found. And while all of this was going on, Chris's behavior was particularly strange. I mean, he was worried, he was anxious, he was concerned, but it was not about his missing family. It was as if he was concerned about something else entirely. So an investigation was launched because at this point it has become very obvious that something was terribly wrong because nobody has seen Shannon or sighted her or heard from her or her kids. So Chris decided to start granting interviews, pleading for his family to return home, saying if Shannon was seeing this, she should come back home with her kids. He loves them, he misses them, he just wants them home, all those yada yada blah 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 stuff and all of those. The detective will always know that okay, something is wrong. And in every true crime case, when one spouse goes missing, the other spouse is the prime suspect until cleared. So if the wife goes missing, it is the husband. So Chris was brought in for questioning, and at first his story was inconsistent. His demeanor seemed very off. He was saying this and that, and but all of that was not enough for the detective to say, okay, he is guilty. But then the breakthrough they were looking for came when he failed a polygraph test. He took a polygraph test and he failed, and he knew his gig was up, so he decided to confess. And he said he unalived Shannon because he walked in and found her unaliving their daughters. He said he did it in a fit of rage. He confessed that that was what he did. But further revelations would show that Chris had planned this murder. It became clear that the confession he gave was BS. It was total BS because they found out that He was having an affair with a co-worker, Nicole Cassenger, and had planned to start a new life with her. In fact, he had told her that he was in the last stage of his divorce from Shannon. So they realized that this was a premeditated murder. So they pressed him further and he confessed. And the truth was even more horrifying and sad. Chris had unalived Shannon and then smothered his own daughters, Bella and Celeste, who were just 4 and 3 years old respectively at this time. He had unalived the three of them, loaded their bodies into his truck, and drove to a remote oil site. You know, he works in the oil industry, so he drove them to a remote oil site where he worked, and he buried Shannon in a shallow grave and submerged his own daughter's bodies in oil tanks. I mean, who does this? Who like? Okay, people are wild. People are wild. He unalived his wife, his two daughters, and his unborn son. This was not three murders, it was four. His wife, his two daughters, and his unborn child. Just because he wanted to start a new life with his mistress. And in his mind, instead of going through divorce, the only way for him to start a new life with Nicole was to unalive his entire family, then go start a new family with Nicole. The sheer brutality and the cold-blooded nature of his action is shocking. This case goes to trial, and during the trial, Chris tried to change his story multiple times, but the evidence stacked up against him was just overwhelming, and eventually, just to avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty to all charges. And finally, on the 19th of November 2018, he was sentenced to 5 life terms without the possibility of parole. It is well deserved. Actually, personally, I wish he got the chair. I wish he got the chair because, damn, he he would be serving 5 lifetime sentence without the possibility of parole. The murders of Shannon, Bella, and Celeste. He also received an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shannon's pregnancy and 36 years for disposing of the bodies. If you ask me, I would say it's well deserved, even though I wish he had. No, the chair would have been an easy way out for him. This is well deserved. This case is a sad one because it's left a very, very huge mark on everyone who followed the case back in 2018, and up to now, it is still chilling to read or watch a documentary about it. This case is just a reminder to every one of you that everything you see on social media is not perfect. There are kind of relationships you see on social media sometimes that seem perfect and everything, but behind it, sometimes beneath the surface of all of this seemingly perfect life lies a lurking darkness. I just want to know what your thoughts are on this case. Just let me know in the comment section, and follow me for more true crime stories. And if you have any case you would like me to cover or talk about, just let me know. And I will see you again on the next episode where we'll be talking about a different case entirely. Stay safe out there.